these three individuals have given the city of Griffin. 92 years of family. I'd like to say, we're losing 92 years of experience. But these individuals that are part of this team are much more. So I tend to like to say we're losing 92 years of family. The first person I'd like to call up is Mr. Wayne Jones, and if Wayne and Kim and any of his team would like to come up. I'd like to briefly just mention a couple things about each person. Wayne has given 26 years to the city of Griffin. Hey, Wayne. How you doing? Meter reader, service worker, utility locator, sysops, tech, technical superintendent. The last 7 years has been a key part of our plan of improvement. I can't say enough, and while Wayne is not retiring, he's actually going to Electric Cities of Georgia. So we're still going to get some benefit out of Wayne, and he'll still work projects. When I think of Wayne, and you put Wayne and projects in the same sentence, it makes you think of a bulldog. He is relentless to find an answer. I'm lucky to have had 7 years, almost 7 years with Wayne. And I want to give Kim a chance to say a few words, and then if possible, Wayne have a few words. So I'll say something at the very end. Kim?
I wasn't really prepared to say goodbye words to Wayne because I didn't really, plan on him leaving, but it's been a pleasure. We've been through a lot together. I wish you all the best. And please keep coming back.
I'd like to thank Bill. Public speaking is not my forte or my favorite thing to do, but I would like to thank the board, Mr. Smith, for all the years and all the support that y'all have given the electric department. We've built a system with Mike and Daryl and Bill that's something really to be proud of, and I want to thank all of y'all. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Can some of Wayne's guys come up here for a picture real quick? While they're coming up, like I like to say, the things that we've been able to accomplish has been a complete team effort, all the way from the commission through our city manager, through our management team, total buy-in, and we appreciate it. So please, guys, get to.
Where the light is, yeah.
Wayne, thank you. On behalf of the City Commission, we appreciate your years of service and best of luck with Electric Cities of Georgia. We look forward to seeing you out there in the field and working for the great state of Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I know what our subscription price is for ECG, so we're going to get our money's worth out of him. The next person I'd like to recognize, Mr. Darrell Evans. If he would come up, and Kim join me. 33 years that Darrell has been with us. Started a meter reader, service worker, system operations for 20 years. Has been devoted to our system, the operation of our system, outages. I cannot go forward without saying a little story. Remember the tornado? Daryl and I were in sysops, and we thought we had missed the tornado. We were watching the map, and it went by, and it was late, early in the morning, and I looked at Daryl and and we're always hungry, so we went to Waffle House and started to eat about everything on the menu, and then the lights went out. We just looked at each other and said we didn't miss it. So we turned around and went back into work and proceeded Daryl and the SysOps team and tech services and lines proceeded everybody proceeded to work that tornado. But the look that Daryl and I gave each other that night was something that I'll always remember. So Daryl, 33 years, I thank you, and I think Kim wants to say a few words.
It's been a privilege working with Daryl for all these years. We have survived a lot together, and his humor has gotten me through more times than I can even begin to recount. But I know the city has benefited from his loyalty and his dedication, and you have seriously earned it. And the next time a big storm comes by, I want you to sit back and laugh, because you've earned that too.
Daryl, thank you very much on behalf of the city of Griffin. I've heard your voice a many times at the other end of the phone, and whether it's a tree on a tree limb on a power line or whatever, you've always been there and responded and done an outstanding job. We appreciate it. Yes, sir. We sat down there listening to the phone calls, and you've taken it like a man and enjoyed it. But thank you for your dedication, sir.
We definitely could put you on the phones. The last, but not least, I'd like to recognize one last retiree, Mr. Mike Blackman, if he could make his way to the front along with his lovely wife and team, because there's quite a few here, if you come up. Mike, 33 years. Started as a groundman here, apprentice, 33 and a half. I've been trying to sign him up for an extended contract for about 2 years, and obviously I didn't have any luck. But groundman, apprentice, lineman, foreman, he took over for Mac. A lot of you remember Mac. He was a line superintendent for 10 years. So many major projects, the last one being the Thomas property. Big part of that. I wrote some things down, but the storms, the hours and hours.
I appreciate it. I do. Great team.
I'm the one that encouraged him to apply for the job. Some days I wish I hadn't. It's been a joyful life. He's been a great dad, a great husband, and I feel like he's been a great employee for the city of Griffin. And we appreciate all of your support, and we look forward to many more years together. Today's our 31st anniversary.
So just a reminder, Friday, 2 to 4 at the Kiwanis building, we'll have a retirement and going away party for Wayne and Mike and also Daryl. And I'll end this with just 92 years of family. Thank you.
Yeah. Mike, thank you very much. We have seen you on the streets year after year, storm after storm, and without you and your team, we'd be in the dark beneath a lot longer hours, and we appreciate your commitment, sir. God bless you.
Thank you.
Great job, Bill. Thank you, sir.
I've enjoyed working with the department heads. All these guys got a great staff. Y'all are great. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving into citizen comment at this time, the chairman opens the floor to comments from the audience. Comments should relate to a specific agenda item not listed on the agenda for the public hearing or to concern within the jurisdiction of the city. Commission meetings serve the purpose of conducting city business and are not a forum for the unlimited expression of opinion. The chairperson reserves the right to limit comments to matters germane to city business and may refer speakers to the city manager or to other staff for resolution. With that being said, is there anybody on my left side that would like to come before the commission? Anybody on my left? Anybody on my right side like to come before the commission? Last call. All right, thank you very much. Next item is public hearing. Public hearings are conducted to allow public comment on specific advertised issues such as rezoning, ordinances, policy development, operating budgets, and other legislative actions to be considered by the city commission. The only item tonight is item 2, receive comments regarding a request to amend the Unified Development Code of the City of Griffin, Article 7, Table 7.3, zoning districts to allow consumer fireworks retail sales facilities meeting the minimum standards of NFPA 1124 for new and existing buildings as permitted use in the planned commercial district. Toussaint Kirk will address. Good evening, sir.
What we have before you this evening is May of this year, Governor Deal signed into law the ability to sell consumer fireworks, as we discussed this morning. So basically, we're trying to provide a land use where these consumer firework facilities can be located. And as you see by your packet there, we're locating them in the PCD district. And also on the land use table, it should reference also that they would have to meet the minimum standards of the NFPA 1124.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the board at this time? This is a public hearing. At this time, is there anybody in the audience who would like to come before the board to ask questions or make comments? Anybody like to make comments, please come forward. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Next item is consent agenda. We have 2 items to address.
Chairman.
Minutes. Go ahead, sir.
If there is no objection, I would move we approve all 3 items on the consent agenda at once, and I so move.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda in items 3, 4, and 5. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Ward. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Thank you very much. Moving to the regular scheduled meeting. First item is item 6. Consider approval of a request to amend the Unified Development Code of the City of Griffin, Article 7, Table 7.3, zoning districts to allow consumer fireworks retail sales facilities meeting the minimum standards at NFPA 1124 for new and existing buildings as permitted use in the planned commercial district.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the amendment as presented.
Second.
Second for, motion Mr. Morris, second for Mr. McCord. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Thank you. Item 7, consider approval to amend the City of Griffin's fiscal year 2014-15 operating capital budget in the amount of $7,200 for the purchase of bulletproof vests for the Police Department Criminal Investigation, CID.
Mr. Chairman, I move we amend the operating capital budget for the purchase as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, Mr. Morris, second from Ms. Ward. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 8, consider approval to amend the City of Griffin's fiscal year 2014-15 operating capital budget in the amount of $2,300 for equipment purchase for archives at the end of fiscal year 2014, subsequently charged to fiscal year 2015.
Motion we approve.
We have a motion, Mr. McCord, second from Ms. Ward. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 9, consider approval to amend the City of Griffin's fiscal year 2015 operating capital budget for facilities and electric utility fund for the purchase of a bi-directional antenna BDA at Thomas property location. We have a motion from Ms. Ward. Do we have a second? Second from Mr. Mara. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 7-0, or 6-0, excuse me. Item 10, consider a resolution in support of submitting application for the Tourism Product Development Grant. DDA Director Kenwin Hayes will address. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. This is an application to request $15,000 from the Georgia Department of Economic Development for the Tourism Product Development Grant. This is the same grant that we received $20,000 last year to install the parking signs that's throughout downtown. They've been installed here the past week.
Okay, great.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
And also, the Historical Society will take care of the match.
Yes, this is a partnership with the our partner organizations.
Okay.
So no commitment from the city of Griffin, financial commitment.
Okay. Ms.
And
McCord?
yeah,
Go ahead.
the housing development project was, the first phase was $14 million.
$14 million. Thank you, Ms. Ward. All right, we had a motion from Mr. McCord. Do we have a second?
I second.
Mr. Morrow, any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising their hand. 6-0. Thank you, sir. Item 11, consider agreement between the City of Griffin and the Spalding County Board of Commissioners for 2 inmate work details for duties at the Shoal Creek Landfill and Oak Hill Memorial Cemetery in the amount equal to the salary and benefits of 2 correctional officers.
I make a motion to approve.
Ms. Ward made a motion.
Second.
Second from Mr. Morrow. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising their hand. 6-0. Item 12, consider approving task order for Utility Services Group for the maintenance of the City of Griffin's water tanks in the amount of $91,449.39 for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department. Do we have a motion?
I move we approve the task order.
Mr. Morrow made the motion. Do we have a second? Mr. McCord, any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 13, consider approval of the task order for interbasin analysis for Paragon Consulting Group in the amount of $192,310 for the Water and Wastewater Department of Public Works and Utilities Department.
Mr. Chair, I second.
I make a motion to approve.
Ms. Ward made a motion. This is second by Mr. Morrow. And this is targeting the Cabin Creek Basin, correct? Okay. This will be for the Cabin Creek Basin to help analyze
Folks,
that.
you're going to see a pattern developing here.
Yes, sir. All right. We have a motion and a second. Any more questions or comments? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 14, consider approval of a TOF for the nitrification analysis of Cabin Creek Water Wastewater Treatment Plant to Paragon Consulting Group in the amount of $21,905 for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Ward, Mr. Morrow, second. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 15, consider the approval of a task order for the valve location and condition assessment to Paragon Consulting Group in the amount of $293,330 for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department. And my understanding is this is for the entire city, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Ms. Ward made a motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrow. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 16, consider approval of a 2015-16 agreement for the sludge management program to Centigro for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department.
I move we approve sludge. Second.
Motion, Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. McCord. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 17, consider the approval of agreement with the United States Geological Survey Division of the United States Department of Interior for flow gauges in the amount of $58,105 for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department. Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Ms. Ward with a motion to approve. Second.
Second.
Mr. Morrow, any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 18, consider approval of the fiscal year 2015-16 mass water meter purchase with Delta Municipal Supply Company in the amount of $793,800 for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department.
Motion approved.
We have motion, Ms. Ward, second.
Second. And these are all for the
Mr.
county, if I understand right.
And we won't have an issue in terms of the signal on these in 3 to 5 years. Will we? Just asking. No surprises? Okay. We got a motion and a second. All in favor, signal by raising your hand.
Keep this safe.
6-0. Item 19, consider approval of a fiscal year 2015-16 task order with Premier Systems Design, PSD, for continuation of work order solution design in the amount of $20,000 for the Public Works and Utilities Department. Pleasure of the board.
Move we approve.
Mr. Morrow with motion. Have a second?
Second.
Ms. Ward, any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 20, consider the approval of task order with Hazen and Sawyer Environmental Engineers and Scientists for the inundation study of Heads Creek Reservoir in the amount of $18,000 for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department.
Easy for you to say it, but I'll move we approve.
Mr. Morrow made a
Second.
motion, second by Ms. Ward. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 21, consider the approval of a task order with Hazen and Sawyer Environmental Engineers and Scientists for the inundation study of Still Branch Reservoir in the amount of $18,900 for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department. Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion, Ms. Ward, a second.
Second.
Mr. Morrow, any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. I've got 6-0 again. Item 22, consider approval of an agreement with Raftellus Financial Consultants, Inc. for the calculation and support of the City of Griffin's wholesale and retail water and sewer rates in the amount of $20,000 for the Water Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department. Do we have a motion?
Move we approve.
Mr. Morrow,
I'll second it, but I
second,
wanna
Ms.
ask a
Todd.
question.
Okay, got a motion, second question, Ms. Todd.
Yeah, didn't we just do this? What is this gonna cover that we haven't already done? We have to do it annually? Okay, that's good enough for me.
Got a motion and a second, and all in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 22, I'm sorry, item 23. Item 23, consider the contract, award of contract section 319H fiscal year 2014 grant, element 12, AZ Kelsey Avenue Ecosystem Restoration Project from the Georgia EPD non-point source program amount of $817,000 for the Stormwater Utility Department of the Public Works and Utility Department. Do we have a motion on this?
Motion approved.
Ms. Ward with the motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. McCord with the second. Quick question. Of this $817,000, what portion of that is a grant or? $344K of that, and the rest comes out of the regular fees that we pay for stormwater utility. Okay. Any other questions from anybody? Everyone in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 24, consider the approval of a task order to Tetra Tech for the construction management and grant administration of the AZ Kelsey Avenue Ecosystem Restoration Project in the amount of $55,000 for the Water, Wastewater, and Stormwater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department.
Motion approved.
We have a motion, Ms. Ward, do we have a second?
This money is in addition to the grant money, right? It's on top of it. It's folded into it? Okay.
We have a second?
Second.
Ms. Flowers with a second. Any questions? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 25 is consider a resolution for reorganization of the Water Wastewater Department for the Public Works and Utilities Department. Any questions?
I move we approve.
Mr. Morrow makes a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Ward with a second. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 26, consider renewal of the annual agreement with E. David Dickens for foliage and soils environmental services in the amount of $7,400 for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department.
Motion approved.
Ms. Ward with a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morrow with a second. And what is this for, Mr. Dr. Keller? Real quick. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 27, consider approval of resolution approving the borrowing amount not to exceed $12,700,000 from the Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund administered by the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, GEFA, for upgrading and expansion of the Potato Creek Water Wastewater Treatment Plant.
We've approved this before.
Yes,
This is
we have.
official. And I move we approve
Mr. Morrow
this
has approved.
resolution.
Second, Ms. Ward. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 28, consider approval of the resolution approving the borrowing of the amount not to exceed $6,275,000 for the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund administered by the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, GEFA, for upgrade improvements to the Flint River Pump Station.
I move we approve.
Mr. Morrow
this
is
again
approved.
also.
Ms. Ward with a second. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 29, consider the approval of a task order for the tracer studies
I'm
and
the queen.
mixing evaluations of Harry Simmons wastewater treatment plant and Still Branch water treatment plant, not wastewater, water treatment plant and Still Branch water treatment plant to Burns McDonald in the amount of $36,500 for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department.
Motion approved.
Ms. Ward with a motion.
Second, I think the taser is in effect.
The taser is in effect. And Mr. Morrow with a second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. You are, yep, 6-0. Item number 30, consider the approval of the 2015-16 meter reading agreement, True Check, for the Water and Wastewater Department, the Public Works and Utilities Department. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Morrow, second by Ms. Ward. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. And that rate structure's on, presented there. And item 31, consider the approval of the task order for the Cabin Creek wastewater basin to Burns McDonald for modeling wastewater flows and hydraulic design in the amount of $235,800 for the Water and Wastewater Department of Public Works.
Please tell me
Director.
that's the end. And I move we approve.
Mr. Morrow makes a motion, second by Ms. Ward. Any questions or discussion?
Is this gonna actually save us any money? Since it says it's like, okay,
So it'll give us our hot spots where the water's getting in.
okay.
Or if you're still here.
You're still here.
Right?
Yeah. But then they give us some results. Some results. All right.
We
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, signal by raising their hand. 6-0. Moving into the items that were added to the agenda. Items 32. Consider a memorandum of understanding between the City of Griffin and the Board of Regents of the University of Georgia by and on behalf of the University of Georgia Archway Partnership and the Office of the Vice President of Public Service and Outreach for the cooperative facilities use agreement to locate the Archway Partnership Office in Suite 505, 1 Griffin Center, in the amount of $1,200 per year.
They're actually gonna pay us money?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll get
That's
some of our
kinda
money
redundant,
back.
ain't it?
Basically, it's just enough to cover utilities and cleaning, and we
Yeah, I
had
knew
kind of
that.
assured them
I
that
knew
we
it's
would
redundant.
allow them in our facility, so
What's in 505 now? I don't,
that's where the transportation planner was when Anthony was here,
okay.
so it was vacated once we contracted with Paragon.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Oh, hold on for a minute. We providing them a place to reside for free. And then we still gotta pay for one.
We gotta pay our
Yes, ma'am.
share. Yeah, it's crazy. I think it was redundant.
Well, we're paying our share, our $20,000 that we split with the county and school board for our portion,
of
the
Georgia.
$60,000 portion for the whole project.
Plus 120 from the state.
Yeah, and then we're basically giving them a place and just covering our expenses for office space. Which is that's the normal Archway protocol. They're housed in either a city hall, a county facility, a chamber facility. So I thought we were fairly lucky to get our expenses out of it, but
Right,
they
hopefully,
agreed to that.
$100 a month that will cover their utilities?
Well, the utilities for the whole building are
kinda all-inclusive, so I don't really know what they would be for that suite, but I just kinda guessed that $100 would cover it.
I move we approve.
Mr. Barr makes a motion, do we have a second?
Can I second?
Ms. Ward with a second, any discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. And last item tonight, number 33, is to consider resolution authorizing and directing the filing of eminent domain proceedings for 706 North Hill Street, tax map 002-06005, owned by North Hill Street Realty LLC, needed to construct a certain public works project to realign North Sixth Street at the intersection of North Hill Street.
Motion to approve.
Ms. Ward makes a motion.
I'll second.
Ms. Todd with a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your hand. 6-0. With that being said, Mr. Smith, any comments?
Well, it seems like that we spent a whole heck of a lot of money in a very short amount of time,
Really?
which we did.
We did.
But for the vast number of public here in the press, these are items that were budgeted this year. Many of these items are annual costs that we contract every year. And about this time every year, as we enter into the new budget, we go ahead and approve those items so we can work on them throughout the fiscal year. The large items, which were the JIFA notes, of course, we have discussed those over months, if not years, and actually pre-approved those, so those were nothing new. So I just wanted everybody to understand that these were projects that we knew were coming and been working on for some time and that will take place over the next fiscal year. Just a reminder of the groundbreaking for turf grass tomorrow at 2 o'clock at the UGA campus. And then the listening sessions for the Hotel Conference Center are Thursday afternoon. They're very brief. They're 45-minute listening sessions. There are 3 of them, one at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock at the Welcome Center. So if you can stop by and meet the consultants and give them your ideas on our needs for a Hotel Conference Center, just stop by at either 1, 2, or 3 o'clock
At the Welcome Center.
at the Welcome Center. Thank you.
We'll see you at GMA. Mr. Whalen?
Just want to congratulate you, you made your time estimate for only 35 minutes.
Oh, did you?
I was keeping account of that. I was afraid he was gonna break my record, but he didn't.
Ms. McCord?
In light of all what has transpired, I guess in the last week or so, with what happened in Charleston, South Carolina, I would just hope that our city and staff and members of the commission will just continue to pray for healing for our nation. Whenever we have tragedies like that, there's no way to really just figure out what is going on in the mind of a person that would do something like that. But just hope that we all remember the 9 lives that were lost and all of the families that were affected about what happened in that tragedy, and that we would just continue to pray for one another. Thank you.
Ms. Moore?
Amen to that. I can't get my mind around that thing. Quick update in the airport. Robert and I met with folks at Georgia Power and Georgia Transmission Company about moving the power lines for the airport. The numbers are staggering, but they're in the budget as has been all along. We're moving forward. It's 2 steps forward and 3 back, I think, but we're moving forward and cutting through these. So it's not going near as quickly as I had hoped, but we are making progress.
Thank you. Ms. Todd?
I would agree with Dick. You know, we thought we'd be having our purchases made by this time, and the federal government's a tough act to have to deal with, even for city government or our state government. But we will prevail. We will get there and do everything they ask us to do, and maybe not, I hope in my lifetime. I really do. We'll be going to GMA this weekend as a group and representing you all, and we're grateful to be able to do that. Just keep the city going while we're all gone.
This is stated previously, the parking signs look really good, so I like the addition down there, it looks good.
Ms. Warren?
It's not a complaint, but I want to know if there is any way that we can encourage, the land bank to do something with the properties that they should have acquired, and the time has run out on them, because all the complaints that I'm getting are about dilapidated houses, is land bank houses. So it's kind of hard telling somebody after 3 years, when 2 years ago it should have went through the process, why this overgrown, animal infested house is still sitting next door to your house, you know, so I'm just,
Could we
is there any way we can encourage them?
and maybe have a report,
Or even ask
Work-
why it
a
happened.
workshop
you know?
meeting,
Crazy.
just kind of give us a status of what's going on and where they're at in position on each of the properties, kind of a report card, accountability.
Yes, sir, I'll contact the chairman of the land bank and, see if he'll schedule that.
Okay, and maybe even have a, listing of what they have and where they're at on each
Okay.
property. Be great. That'd be good. Okay.
Yep.
Well, first, I'd like to thank staff. Within a week, we'll be close to, wrapping up this fiscal year. And congratulations, we survived, and we're ready to rock and roll into the next year, especially Dr. Keller with all the money he's got to spend. And to the news media, I want to give you all a little attaboy. Y'all keep the folks informed of what's going on here. Your stories, in my opinion, are fair, and we appreciate y'all continually spreading the word and doing your due diligence to make sure that the message gets out there, telling the folks what's going on. And on a positive side, even though we had the tragedy in America, which I didn't even know about until I got back into America, I spent a week with 5 young people, and to watch them trek through the mud and paddle 65 miles and go over hills and mountains carrying 100-pound rucksacks and carrying 65 canoes by themselves, and seeing how their attitude of life changes in a 5-day period gives me great optimism that America is still an awesome, awesome country, and no matter what tragedies we have, we will always overcome those. And we've got a future group of youth and young people that will step up and fill the shoes and make great things happen for our community, this state, and for this country. With that,
May I add
Yes,
something
ma'am.
else? And I should have. In the Peachtree Road race this year, the oldest participant is a Griffinite, Peggy Smith. She's 95 years old, and she's going to be walking. And if you subscribe to the Atlanta Track magazine, they've got a great spread on her, which we have made available to the Griffin Daily News, and I guess next week, one day, they will be printing that. But if you can imagine, she now lives in assisted living in Atlanta with her sister and her brother, and 95 years old. This is her 4th one. She will be walking, and it's just a remarkable feat. She's a remarkable woman. She doesn't now, but for years she would take her bicycle before she turned 90 over to Peachtree City and ride her bicycle. So she's always been an athlete, and her son is Philip Smith, who all of us know in the city of Griffin. And Philip forwarded me the article on his mom, and I forwarded it to the Griffin Daily News. It's a remarkable feat, and the fact that she's from Griffin, Georgia, is just, like I say, it speaks well for our community. I know we've got a couple here that are going to participate. I hope they make it.
But one will be leaving another one a long ways back.
I don't worry about Cora.
anything else tonight? Well, thank y'all. We will not have a meeting the second Tuesday of July, so our next opportunity will be a month away. With that
Yeah.
being said, adjourned.
I move.